Good day, everyone. This is our topic number 6 under of our core subject, Asian Studies. Topic number 6 entitled India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. These are the subtopics: Land and People of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, Birth of the Republic of India, Nehru and Gandhi's, India's Nation Builders, India's Problem, Modern Pakistan, and problems faced by Bangladesh. So we have here the map of Asia, and as we look to India, it is a triangular peninsula. The capital of India is New Delhi, and one of the largest city is Mumbai. We also discussed in our previous topic the famous rivers that can be found in India. These are the Ganges and the Indus River na ina-expect natin or expected na dito daw nagsimula ang ilang sa mga kilalang sibilisasyon sa mundo. And just one fact, Indian Constitution is the largest written constitution in the world. So let's have the colonialism in Asia. As the colonization and imperialism started in Asia, Westerners and other colonizers started to exploit not only the people, but also the land and other resources within their country. Between 1870 and 1914, European nations engaged in imperialism, bringing much of the world under of their control. Some of the European nations na kilala natin na colonize and nag-build ng kanilang mga empire in Asia. We have Portugal, we have Spain, we have Britain, and so on. And when we say imperialism, it is the domination by one country of the political, economic, and cultural life of another country or region. In our discussion about India, we are able to give some of the important events or the highlights of their history, especially during the colonization of Britain and how people of India fight for their rights, how people stand on protecting their country, such as Mahatma Gandhi, wherein Mahatma Gandhi opened the minds and the hearts of Indians to fight for peace, to fight for equality in a form of satyagraha. Right? We discussed that concept before. And during the partition of India, led to the creation of two sovereign states, the domination of Pakistan, and the Union of India on August 14, 1947 and August 15, 1947, respectively, upon the granting of independence of British India by the United Kingdom. And this wasn't able to see by the father of India, no other than Mahatma Gandhi, because of the assassination. So when we say partition, it refers to the division of land. So in this case, the division of British controlled India into East and West Pakistan and India. So as you can see in our slide, at the left side, this is the map during the British control, while at the right side, we have here the map of partition. British colonial rule in India. For India's history, it was ruled by foreign powers, first by the Portuguese, then the Dutch, followed by the British. Each of these colonial powers left their marks on Indian society in different ways. But let us focus our lesson during the British colonization or British era in India. It is said that by the mid-1800s, Britain controlled three-fifths of India land or area. So during World War One, that happened 1914 to 1918, over 1 million Indians served in British war effort, and we know that war brings this negative because it destroyed not only the infrastructure, but most important is the lives of the people. And with that, Indian nationals feel bad with their lives since they only had little freedom at home. The British promised more Indian self-government, uh, but after the war, World War One specifically, um, Britain only proposed minor changes. They did not they not able to give the freedom or independence to Indian people. All India Muslim League was founded at Dhaka on December 30, 1906, and one of the leader is Nawam Vikar ul Mulk. AIML, or All India Muslim League, was a political party in British India. So the Muslim League was founded for the rights of Indian Muslim. Kumbaga, it was created for Muslim para kahit papaano ma-prioritize sila o mabigyan sila ng pansin. At the same time, it was created para ma-maintain or hindi mawala yung loyalty towards the British government during that time. For several years, the League and its leader, na tulad na nabanggit ko kanina, ay malaki ang naging impluwensya. Like example, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who joined the League during 1913. He also became the president of the League and called for the unity of Hindu-Muslim. Yun nga lang, afterwards, Indian Muslim want to separate. They wanted to separate with the other Indians, especially yung mga Hindu. Since magkaiba sila ng tradition, magkaiba sila ng culture, magkaiba sila ng beliefs, most especially sa religion. Ano, because they have different religious practices. So, tulad nga ng mababasa natin sa slide, it becomes the driving force behind the creation of Pakistan as a Muslim state from British India on the Indian subcontinent. Kasi nga ang India tulad ng na-discuss natin last time ay um, ang population nito ay composed ng mga Muslim at ng mga Hindu. Yun nga lang, nagkaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawaan because the different religion. Ano po? In Pakistan, the League formed the country's first government but disintegrated during the 1950s following an army coup. Though after the independence of India and Pakistan, the League continued as a minor party in India. Pero it also split into different factions, and by the year 1974, it had disappeared altogether. Indian protests begin. So 1990, Amritsar massacre, peaceful protesters shot by British soldiers. A turning point convinced many Indians of the need for complete independence. So, massacre of Amritsar incident on April 13, 1919, wherein British troops fired a large crowd of unarmed Indians in an open space known in Amritsar in the Punjab region of India, wherein killing of 100 people, and not only hundred of people was killed, but hundred of people who are also wounded. Uh, like what on our slide, the turning point convinced many Indians to in terms of complete independence against the British. Actually, it left a permanent scar on Indo-British relations and was the start of Mohandas Gandhi's full commitment to the cause of Indian nationalism and independence of India. So, 1920s, Mohandas Gandhi emerged as a new leader, wherein we give emphasis the life of Mohandas Gandhi in our previous discussion, wherein he was able to unite almost of not all but almost of Indians for independence. So Mohandas Gandhis believed that Hindus and Muslims should live in amity. Kumbaga, they should live in a peaceful way. For his role in achieving Indian independence, Gandhi has been compared to George Washington of US. He also inspired people and influenced some of prominent people also around the world, like Martin Luther King Jr., with his use of nonviolent civil disobedience. So the Gandhi's campaign of nonviolence slowly forced Britain to agree to hand over some of the power of Indians. On our left side, we have Lord Mountbatten. So he took the responsibility of partitioning British India, who oversaw the partitioning of India into India and Pakistan. He also sent back British troops back to England. So at the right side, uh, we have here Sir Cyril Radcliffe, wherein he was given the task to draw the dividing line between India and Pakistan. This line came to be known as the Radcliffe Line, and with his role, he was called as the man who divided India and Pakistan. At the left side, we have Ali Jinnah, uh, who is one of the prominent person in terms of partition of India. He is known as the great leader and the father of nation of Pakistan. At the right side, we have Jawaharlal Nehru. He is the first and the longest prime minister of independent India, who also established a parliamentary government. And he is one of the political leaders in terms of Indian independence during 1930s and 1940s. So we have here then Indian National Congress, abbreviated as INC, as the major political party in India. The Indian National Congress became the nation's leader in the independence movement, with over 15 million Indians involved in its organization and over 70 million participants in its struggle against the British Empire. And after the independence in 1947, it became the nation's dominant political party, only challenge for leadership in more recent decades. Nehru became a very powerful man with the support of Indian National Congress. The end of British rule in India. So Britain outraged Indian leaders by postponing further action on independence, bringing India into World War II without consulting them, where millions of Indians served in British war effort, but there are nationalists launched a campaign of non-cooperation. So actually, even during World War One, Indians helped a lot to British as they were expecting that after World War, their hardship would end. They were thinking that as they cooperate, they will get their independence. But there are just few changes happen, but not able to get the independence that they wanted. And when World War II ended, independence could no longer be delayed since mas nagiging intense yung pagnanais ng mga Indian in terms po sa pagkamit ng kanilang freedom, ng kanilang kalayaan. Meaning, there is this Indian nationalism like as during the colonization of Westerners. Independence and partition. So like we discussed a while ago that there are two largest religious groups in India. We have the Hindus and the Muslim. And the Muslims are the said to be minorities who wanted to have their state, their own state. because Hindus and Muslim belong to two different religious philosophies, customs, beliefs. So they thought that um, those Muslim will get injustice and may not be treated well. So they wanted to form a new country or a new state. In 1947, Britain partitioned India. So they created a Hindu India and a Muslim Pakistan. So Pakistan consisted to two separate sections. These are the West Pakistan, ngayon ay Pakistan at present, and the East Pakistan where this is the Bangladesh at present. So generally speaking, the partition was a significant event in South Asian history and had profound social, political, and economic implications. So the partition of India led to the uproar millions of people who sought safety on the other side of the new borders and unleashed violence between Hindus and Muslims. In addition, wars between India and Pakistan. So the fear and mistrust have defined relations between India and Pakistan, or we could say between the two religions, Hindu and the Muslim. At the independence, border conflicts ignited a war over Kashmir. Kashmir is a state in the Himalayas, and this conflict is a long-standing and complex territorial dispute between the two countries because um, before uh, Hindu prince signed Kashmir over to India, but its majority Muslim population who wanted to be part of Pakistan. Since then, the two nations have fought several wars over Kashmir, but right now, majority or about half of the area is under of the India. The Kashmir conflict is deeply enriched a sensitive issue with significant geopolitical and regional implications. So dahil dito sa Kashmir na also called as one of the paradise on the earth due to its landscape, uh, nagkagulo or kumbaga ay mayroong conflict or hindi unawaan between the two countries. So Pakistan and India. Actually, hindi lang Pakistan and India ang may gusto or kumokontrol sa Kashmir region. But also, kinokontrol din ito ng India. In terms of demographics, according to 2001 census, Kashmir has about 10 million residents, wherein 7.5 million in Indian-controlled territory, then 2.5 million in Pakistani-controlled territory. Three-quarters of the populations are Muslim, and the remaining quarter is predominantly Hindu. South Asia and the Cold War. Just additional input that during the Cold War, India and Pakistan took different paths. If you can still remember, Cold War was characterized by tension and threat of nuclear conflict without directly military engagement between US and the Soviet Union. So Cold War also is the partition or the difference of ideology between capitalism and communism. So India welcomed economic aid from both superpowers but otherwise embraced neutrality or non-alignment. While Pakistan feeling threatened in both India and USSR to the north, that's why Pakistan accepted US military aid. Nuclear proliferation in the post-Cold War era. When we say nuclear proliferation, ito yung mabilis na pag-increase ng number ng mga nuclear weapon during the Cold War. But in 1968, a number of nations signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty or the NPT, agreeing to halt or stop the spread of nuclear weapons. Because we know naman kung ano yung dala ng nuclear weapon, or because we know the negative effects of having this kind of weapon. During the 1995 treaty renewal debate, some nations refused to sign because they are questioning why some could have those nuclear weapon while others could not. Due to this problem, having nuclear weapon is still a concern. The nuclear proliferation remains a complex and evolving issues in the post-Cold era. Pero good thing here is may progress naman na nagawa in reducing nuclear weapon and arsenals. Just fun fact, the danger from conflict rose after the India became a nuclear power in 1974. Pakistan was threatened. That's why they developed their own nuclear capabilities in 1998. However, both nations refused to sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty during the 1995. Here are some of the India's problem: overpopulation. Because of the resistance of Hindus to population control, experts predict that its current rate of growth, Indian population will more than double in size in the next 35 years. Actually, in terms of the population of India, as of 2023, nasa top list sila, top 1, na mayroong high number ng population. And with this rapid growing population, it poses challenges in terms of providing jobs, education, medicine, and so on. However, despite of this concern or challenges, ginagawa naman ng paraan ng gobyerno ng India to solve all of this and to provide the needs and wants of their citizen. If we will relate the number of population naman sa Philippines as of 2023, population ng Philippines ay nasa 117 million and counting. Another India's problems, we have here the mass poverty and the border dispute. So India's border with Pakistan and China possess potential sources of war with these countries. So sa border dispute, i-include na natin dito yung kaninang diniscuss natin about the Kashmir region, wherein hindi lang Pakistan at India ang may sigalot doon or nag-aagawan, but also even China. Another problem, we have here the racial and religious militancy. The partition with Pakistan created wounds that caused the world's mass migration, over millions lives slaughtered, Mahatma Gandhi's life, and several wars. Another, we have here the natural disaster. So, earthquake, monsoons, and even tsunamis have caused serious damage to people and poverty to India. Like example, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, often referred to as a Boxing Day tsunami. This is one of the deadliest natural disaster that record in history and cost a lot to the people of India. And we have another, the monsoon floods in 2007. With all of this problem, there are also possible solutions. Addressing these economic challenges really require cooperation and collaboration from the effort of the government, private sector, civil society, and international partners. And if possible, para masolusyonan itong mga economic challenges na ito, not only yung cooperation and collaboration, idagdag na rin natin yung mga reforms and policies those must be essential for sustainable economic growth and development ng India. Now we have here the Pakistan. So the Pakistan lies halfway between South Asia and Middle East with 803,943 square kilometer, having a predominantly Indo-Iranian speaking population. Pakistan has historically and culturally been associated with its neighbor like Iran, Afghanistan, and India. So the capital of Pakistan is Islamabad. Um, the name of Pakistan was given by Chaudhry Ralimat Ali, and there are three giant mountain range. These are the Himalayas, Karakoram, and Hindu Kush. Pakistan also has one of the world's largest irrigation system, named IBIS, IBIS. In Pakistan, it starts with or from Khyber and runs from or through Punjab to Sindh, and this is drastic variation in climatic parameters. For example, in terms of temperature and rainfall. Pakistan is one of the poorest of nations, and as of 2023, the population of Pakistan is about 240 million and counting, and majority of them are Muslim. So, Islamic Republic and the president of head of state must be a Muslim, or the person shall not be qualified for election as president unless he is a Muslim, he is not less than 45 years of age, a qualified member of National Assembly, and of course, not only a Muslim but also a citizen of Pakistan. The national language is Urdu. Actually, Pakistan has two official languages, the Urdu and the English. Christianity in Pakistan. Pakistanis had a traditional religious tolerance unlike India. Every year, um, a Christian festival celebrates the visit of Apostle Thomas, who traditionally came to Sirkap, northeast of Rawalpindi. He is said to have planted the first Christian churches in the Indian subcontinent. So Christianity is a religious minority in Pakistan, and Christianity in Pakistan is diverse, with adherents from various Christian denominations, like or including the Protestant, Orthodox, and the Roman Catholic. So the Roman Catholic Church is considered as one of the largest Christian denominations in Pakistan. Increasing radicalization by Islamists and the presence of the terrorists makes it more difficult to maintain religious freedoms or peace in the country. But despite of these challenges faced by the Christian community in Pakistan, many Christians continue to contribute to the country's social, cultural, and economic life. In terms of early history, it is the center of early Indus Valley civilization. It shares the same classical civilization with India, and indeed, the Asian civilization of the subcontinent flourished in Pakistan, not India, since part nga before ng India ang Pakistan before the partition na na-mention naman kanina. Invasion brought Islam in 1180 and the Mongol Empire from 1526 to 1857. So the history of Muslim or in Pakistan is intertwined with the broader history of the Indian subcontinent. Though there are already early interaction led to the conversation to some local and Arab traders before, the invasion brought Islam when Mongols come, who had profound have a big impact on the religion's culture, architecture, and governance. In short, the Mongol Empire had a strong presence in what is now Pakistan. Now let's have the Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is formerly known as the East Pakistan that lies in the northeast of Indian subcontinent. Bangladesh is a South Asian country located on the Bay of Bengal, sharing borders with India to the west, north and east, and Myanmar or the Burma to southeast. Dhaka is both the capital and the largest city of Bangladesh. When the Indian subcontinent became independent, it joined West Pakistan due to shared Muslim faith. However, there are ethnic differences, which in time became worse and led to separation. So, Bangladesh has a vast fertile delta through which five rivers including Ganges and Brahmaputra, flow on their way to Bay of Bengal. Bangladesh also experienced worse monsoon in terms of product, mainly ay may connection sa agriculture, largest exporter of jute fiber. It is said that Bangladesh is also a populous nation and most densely populated. Most people are Bengali Muslim, and in terms of uh, language, national language nila ay Bengali. So there are already native and tribal languages in Bangladesh, but their national language is called Bengali. So in terms naman ng religion, actually hindi lang din naman Muslim. There are Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. Pero most of the people are Muslim. Ayan. In terms of population, as of 2023, it is estimated na nasa 172 million and counting ang meron o nakatira sa Bangladesh. Now let's have a brief discussion about the history of Bangladesh. On December 7, 1970 is the first democratic election that resulted to massive victory of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman from East Pakistan and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto from West Pakistan. Mujibur Rahman was also called Sheikh Muhi or Muji. He is the father of Bangladesh and during his formal political career, he is co-founder of the Awami League. The league advocated political autonomy for East Pakistan na ngayon naman ay tinatawag na Bangladesh. To support the Bangladesh, the East Pakistan formed their separate state with the help of India during or on April 13, 1971 that we discussed a while ago. So these are some of the problems of Bangladesh. First is the natural calamities. Second, poverty and starvation. Third, political instability. Fourth is their relationship with Pakistan, and many more. Actually, the history of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh is a story of diverse culture, beliefs, tradition, and also their history in terms of struggles for their independence or gaining their independence against colonialism, against imperialism. So as social studies teachers, may we not only teach the content or more on memorization. As teacher, we help our students to develop their deep understanding of the past, critical thinking skills, and most important is appreciate or appreciation for the impact of historical events on the present and the future. Likewise, the story of these three states show how their people become resilient and still hold that despite of historical conflicts and challenges, there is still hope and there is still a peace and security that will follows after the conflict. So, meron pa ring liwanag na matatanaw, kumbaga. So, I hope you learned something today. See you and God bless.